intercessors and hearts of the holy ones. You will not succeed. Holding me down for far too long.
What's up, everybody? It's Thursday night, and that means it's time to talk about movies. This is the POVincent podcast. I'm your host, Vincent Didiano, and with me, of course, is my co-host, the human megahorn, Eric Williams. Eric, how you doing, man?
I'm moody and prickly. I can't wait for days to be longer, and I wish I had more food. I like the sunlight. I know I don't look like... Okay, that's not true. I don't like the sunlight. I like the sun to be out so that I can be inside and be like, hey, look at that bright thing that could kill me. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I was about...
Sorry about it.
What? Are we good now?
Now we're good.
Now we're 2 and 3. Channels 2 and 3.
Now we're good.
Now we're good. Now we're good. Sorry about that, everybody. What you don't understand what happens in the studio time is that because Eric's incredible bombastic personality sometimes blows out our mixer and he has to reset the channels. For those of you in the sound industry, you're like, that doesn't sound quite right. But here's the River's Edge studio. Magical things happen all the time. Seriously, going through that door, you guys can't see it here on the live stream.
When are you running for president? That was some of the most amazing bullshit I've ever heard in my life. That was beautiful. That was so well put together. You sold it. There was confidence. You didn't stutter. You were just like, no. And you even discounted. You were like, oh, you professionals think you know. You don't understand the magic. You just made us like the Harry Potter of podcasting.
We're going to fix this soundboard problem by building a wall around it. And WQED is going to pay for
it. Now I'm hungry for tacos.
All right. You know what the horrible thing is about? We haven't even gotten to the political movie we're reviewing tonight.
That's so true. Oh, how good is the movie about this current administration going to be?
We're gonna get to that, but
we'll cover that during our review later.
I love how even though I wasn't planning to do those political jokes, you already accidentally had the poster up.
Whoops.
Fuck the logo. Little things you'll miss when you're not watching on the live stream.
Yeah, see, you gotta get all of the excitement. That's why you need to tune in.
That's why, exactly. All right, but before we get on to anything, Eric, of course, I gotta ask, how were your holidays, brother?
My family's still alive. My brother didn't fly into town, so that was great. No, my brother is living out in Arizona, and I drove to Akron, met up with my parents and my great aunt there, and they, being the great people that they are, gave me Aldi gift certificates.
Ooh.
And gas gift certificates. Ooh. So I can eat and drive. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, remember when you were a kid and you're like, oh, Christmas, all these beautiful presents that I don't really need but make me feel happier about myself because classism. And now I'm just like, oh, you mean functional things that keep me from dying? You're amazing. How about you, man? You have a very Italian Christmas?
Yeah, we had lasagna. I'm not even joking.
Do you have lasagna making parties? No, I'm not kidding. Have you met my buddy Shadow Matthew Andreassi?
No, well, no. I mean, there has been times growing up where the Didiano clan got together, and the cooks of the family would work together as a unit and make lasagna. And this was not really that time. It was just mostly my mom put the lasagna together, and she did a great job. My friend Lisa was over with us for Christmas dinner this time. She had some lasagna. She concurred it was good lasagna. But my mom, being the nervous hostess that she is, she kind of it's got hard around the edges. It always happens. And we kept on telling her, Mom, the lasagna tastes good. I had more of it the next day, but she's like, it didn't get quite right. It's like, Mom, it's good. I
do the same thing with Sheena all the time. Like, I'll make something and she's like, this is super good. And I'm like, I could have gotten the green peppers just a little bit crispier. You got the... No, my buddy Shadow, Matthew Andreassi, who used to perform in Sheena and the Shadow Puppets, Andreassi, a very Italian family, they would have lasagna parties where everyone has a station, and then they make multiple lasagnas, and you freeze some lasagnas. Oh yeah, like it's a whole ordeal. So take some notes, planning for next time.
Lasagna Palooza, all right. All right. But anyway, guys, we hope you guys all had a great holidays with your Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you're doing out there. Hope it all went well, and it's time to get to the news. So first thing we got up is a little bit of Christmas cheer. We're gonna keep that going just a little bit longer. Just a little bit. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, any news story we talk about on the show, I post on our Facebook and Twitter. I try to post it. So check both the Facebook and Twitter out, because we don't always have time to go over all the news of the week, and I try to post as much on there as I can, unless I'm being lazy. So first thing we're going to talk about is Jennifer Lawrence spreading some Christmas cheer. I am a big fan of Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's a fantastic actress. I mean, she's fucking awesome. I'm.
Look, man, say what you will about Jennifer Lawrence. I just wish that Santa baby could be our new co-host. That Santa baby is adorable.
Yeah. If you're not, for those of you not once again, this the article is on cinemablend.com. We posted a link to our Facebook page, so if you guys would like to click to it now, there's pictures of Jennifer Lawrence. She went to a hospital on Christmas Eve and visited some of the patients, a lot of young kids. So, according to the article on cinemablend.com, as it was noted by WDRB News, Jennifer Lawrence made her way to Norton Children's Hospital on Christmas Eve to celebrate the holidays with the staff and children located inside the medical care facility. And it's apparent from the first photo found above that she was moved by this particular visit. Yeah, you just see her. She's going to all these young kids with this little baby. He's got a little Santa hat and friggin' adorable. And then
I hope someone got that baby a shirt that says, I went to Norton's Children's Hospital and all I got was this great medical care.
With Norton's Children's Hospital, all I got to do was hang out with one of the biggest Hollywood stars.
While also being kept alive. Like, it's a twofer. It's a twofer.
Yeah, but no, there's all kinds of pictures of her, with patients and some of the people working there, and I always love it when celebrities give time, go to hospitals. Chris Pratt and Chris Evans did this famously a couple years back. I think they've repeated it where, each one of them has their favorite football team, and they said, well, if your football team loses, you got to go to this hospital dressed as Captain America. But if your football team loses, you got to go there dressed as Star-Lord. And it didn't matter which team won. They both went there in their character and visited all the kids, and it was awesome.
That's awesome. That is the best stupid football bet I've ever heard of. That's a good version of Trading Places.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of the best Christmas movies, by the way. I don't care what you say, Vince. I know we debated it. It's a Christmas movie.
When did we get into that?
We got into this like a week ago. We discussed whether or not Die Hard was a Christmas movie, and then we laid out the rules for a Christmas movie. And no actual Santa Claus is in that film, although Dan Aykroyd does try to rob people dressed as Santa Claus. That's good enough for me.
I grew up watching Trading Places. I watched it all the time as a kid. I've watched it as an adult. I'll never forget the way that scene when Dan Aykroyd's at his lowest point. He is dressed up to Santa, and like during the party where he's stuffing food, and then
the salmon.
Yeah, and later he's on the bus. He pulls the salmon out of salmon, and like the fake beard is caught up in that salmon. He's just biting into it and ripping out some like the fake beard hair. It's just so nasty and disgusting. I was like, good acting, Dan Aykroyd, because because there's no way he didn't realize the hair, and he just went with it. And like, okay,
that's that's just an incredible movie. Like, I mean, regardless of the fact that a gorilla kills a man intimately,
we never see the gorilla kill him. We never see it.
Some things you don't need to see, Vincent.
I would like to, I'd like to see a sequel where it's just the bad guy in the gorilla costume, and he ends up in an episode of National Geographic, and he has to prove to like the photographers that he's a man, but every time he gets close to proving who he is, the gorilla pulls him in.
That's amazing.
Oh shit. Anyway, so the point of all this is that Jennifer Lawrence is a lovely person. We got a little off topic, but in a good way. Yeah, so once again, Jennifer Lawrence, I think, is a fantastic actress. From what I've seen of her in an interview, she seems like a really fun person, and the fact that she takes time to give back and do what she can. Because once you reach, if you got it good in your life, you got to give back, But we're going to move on to that.
I like that philosophy, you fucking socialist.
Whatever, okay? Okay, women won in the election, so you can't talk to me now.
What? Women won in the election, so you can't talk to Italian men who wear plaid.
I look good in plaid.
You do. You do look good. I like your hair forward. It looks fluffy.
Yeah, no, please.
I want to run my hands through it.
Do you hear that, my family? Do you hear that? Mom, Dad, Anthony?
I like how you assume that they're watching.
They'll see it sooner or later. I'll be like, you guys should really check out this latest episode. We went into a lot of...
You guys should really check out this latest episode. Yeah. You guys should really check out this latest episode. Doesn't my hair look great?
All right, time to move on to our next subject. Ladies and gentlemen, time to get a little hometown here, because we're here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
We're just keeping the good feelings going
We are, because we got some...
We're going to talk about...
We're talking about the Mr. Rogers movie coming out. It was announced today. The title of the movie, and we're doing this from an article on therap.com. The title of the movie is going to be A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. For those of you who don't know, Tom Hanks was cast as Mr. Rogers in Sony's movie. They've been filming here for a while now. First pictures of Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers were released a little while ago. I believe we talked about it on the show. And the plot of the movie is, and I didn't know what the plot was till right now because it's like a biopic, but Mr. Rogers lived a long life. So I was like, how are they going to do this? Because I didn't hear about his son Colin Hanks cast as Mr. Rogers in his 20s or whatever. I don't know. But the film, according to the article, the film tells the true story of Rogers' relationship with Tom Junod, played by Matthew Rhys, a jaded reporter who has begrudgingly accepted an assignment to write a profile about the children's TV host. As the two talk, Junod... I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Jonad realizes that Rogers' sincerity is genuine, and his worldview is completely changed by the man with whom he became a lifelong friend. So that's going to be really interesting because when you think Mr. Rogers, you really don't hear a lot of people talking negatively about the man. It really is a rare thing, though some people, I mean, there have been, I've heard here and there, but to think that he turned this guy around and made a friendship out of it, that's always like a cool story to people who are like enemies, or not necessarily enemies, but like are at odds, and they start to see eye to eye. Frenemies.
Mr. Rogers, the true frenemy story.
Remember when E was important?
Oh, you mean before like Pornhub was a thing, so that people in middle school would stay up to watch Wild On, see blurred out pictures, and then see the commercials for Girls Gone Wild during the episodes of Wild On.
Oh God, I remember Brooke Burke, right? Wild On E with Brooke Burke.
I feel like we just both confessed that we masturbated way too much to E in our early adolescence.
No. I masturbated a fair amount of times. All right? I was like, I gave myself an allotment for the week, and I was like, that's it. That's all.
You know, a lot of people would say that the term fair is very subjective.
I felt fine the next day. That's fair to me. How did I feel the next day? And then who was it who took over the show after Brooke Burke? Was it from American Pie? What was her name?
I don't know. I feel like I discovered like dial-up porn by then, or at least like copies of my dad's old Playboys. Like I don't know who did take over.
It was the chick from crap. I can't remember. We were talking about Mr. Rogers. We have the freakiest goddamn segues. What's her name? The blonde.
Did we just corrupt Mr. Rogers?
No. He is like too pure. You can't corrupt Mr. Rogers. That's impossible. Nothing can corrupt him. What was her name? God damn it.
Oh gosh, you know what, you say that, but you know what? Now that there is a Mr. Rogers movie coming, you know what is inevitably
Tara Reid. That was it.
Also coming.
Captain Kangaroo?
The Mr. Rogers porn parody.
I feel like that's probably already been done. I'd be surprised if it hasn't already been done. If the whole land of make-believe is sticky.
That train was never the same after that day.
The train comes out of the tunnel. It's like, hey, everybody. Oh, shit. It just goes right back in the tunnel.
I was actually implying a different kind of train.
I know what you were implying.
So yeah, Mr. Rogers in the movie. Wait, frenemies? What?
Yeah. So now the one thing that concerns me about the movie is that like there's always a trigger word for me. Even after we did a review of a movie of this studio's a couple weeks back that we all loved the movie, Sony's behind this. Sony always gets me a little concerned.
Yeah, that's but okay. Fair credit to Sony. First of all, 2/3 of the original Spider-Man movies were like good. I know some people weren't thrilled with the original. Some people had issues with Tobey Maguire as the original Spider-Man, but that movie is solid. And the second one is very well done. They just dropped the ball on the third one. Could not get a Fantastic Four film right to save their film rights, if we're being honest about that, and have messed up some other things. But Venom was very watchable. I can't remember if we recommended people to see that or not, but Venom was...
I did not, because Venom was okay to me, and our policy here on the... well, for me, I have not held you to this. This is my personal policy. If something is okay, I don't recommend it, because I only want to recommend good, great, or blew my mind movies. So, once again, Venom, I didn't think it was horrible. It had some good moments, but it was okay to me.
Well, to how I summed it up, I said this before, I'll repeat it. Venom, had it been an MCU film, would have been disappointing. As a Sony film, it was a pleasant surprise. It was, and I'll go with you that it was, but all in all, it was watchable. Fans liked it, and Spider-Verse was amazing.
Spider-Verse was damn good.
And I don't know who they had doing the writing for this, but if this has any sort of the heart that Spider-Verse had, along with the plot continuity, like this should be fine. This should be good, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, we'll take a quick look at some of the info for this movie before we move on to our next subject. So let's see. Where is the beautiful? I'm trying to look it up through Tom Hanks' IMDb. No better place. Beautiful? Is that what you're just...
Vince, stop trying to find pictures of Brooke Burke.
Not that it'll be that hard. Oh my God, this is weird. I'm on Tom Hanks' IMDb page, and it's not his acting credits that comes up first. It's his producing credits that comes up first. Like I know, like he's been doing a lot of producing because he's up. Okay, here we go. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Let's see who's directing it. Marielle Heller.
Is he related to Helen?
I don't know. Is this woman... Okay, so female director, and she's also directed...
Is she related to Helen?
I don't know. Diary of a Teenage Girl, which I didn't see, but I heard it was good. She also... She directed... What are her directing credits? Can You Ever Forgive Me? Casual, Transparent Diary of a Teenager Girl.
Okay, so she was a director on Transparent. Just one episode, or?
Yeah, she directed one episode of Transparent. Actress, she's been in Eyes Wide Open, Spin City. So that was a while back. She hasn't done a lot of acting.
What is Eyes Wide Open?
Wasn't that Tom Cruise film?
No, that's Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, I don't know. We're bringing up so many questions here.
Eyes Wide Open sounds like a weird parody that probably had less nudity. Like, you know what? Actually, Eyes Wide Shut is probably one of the big films that did not have a porn parody. Because they were the porn producers were probably like, what can we do in a porn that they didn't already do in Eyes Wide Shut?
Wait, where did it go? I lost it now.
You lost the internet?
No, I didn't lose the internet. I lost that. Wait, did I make that movie up in my mind? What's going on here?
Guys, we're discussing Mr. Rogers, and Vincent is having a breakdown.
So the point I'm trying to is this director doesn't have a lot of directing credits. But she directed that teenage girl movie, which wasn't I didn't see it. Came out a few years ago, but I heard it was pretty good.
She directed Transparent, which got a lot of good reviews before Jeffrey Tambor's behavior got the show canceled.
Yeah,
did he just get off the show, or did they cancel?
I think the show was over by the time all that he was hit by the Me Too. I don't mean that the guy did some shit he wasn't supposed to. Yeah, I think the show was over by then, but the show probably would probably get canceled soon anyway because. The fact that Jeffrey Tambor is not a transgender actor playing a transgender character, which is a subject we've brought up on the show before. It'll probably come up again as time goes on, but more and more people seem to be against that. But
I mean, the people do seem to be against that, but I think there will always be things. There will always be things that are done that people don't like. But I think the more relevant thing was his overall behavior because. He and the other males from Arrested Development pretty much kiboshed another season with that horrible New York Times interview. Where do you remember what it was? Basically, it was a lot of mansplaining with Jessica Walters going no, I shouldn't have to fucking say this.
Okay. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it was bad. Both Jason Bateman and the guy who plays Oscar had they had to do some foot rubbing and some apologizing after that.
I gotcha. All right, well, time to move on to our next subject. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple years ago, stand-up comedian and comedic actor Jordan Peele came out with a movie that blew people away. That movie was Get Out. I loved it. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. And now he's got a new movie coming out called Us. The trailer dropped just the other day. And once again, Jordan Peele is directing this film. The movie stars, I'm going to look her up because I always feel like I'm going to screw her name. Lupita Nyong'o? Am I saying that name? Or I thought it was her. Hold on. Yeah, Lupita Nyong'o. There we go. I always screw up her last name. She stars in this film. It's about a family who seem to be on a little summer vacation. All-black family, husband, wife, daughter, son. They're driving along, just listening to some 90s hip-hop and rap. And they're on vacation with some of their friends and, doing stuff. And everything seems fine until at one point the young boy, the son, kind of runs off down the beach towards some person that's kind of looks like a homeless person almost, but they got blood dripping from their fingertips, right? And next thing we know, he's fine, the person is gone, his mom comes running up to him, it's we were so worried, right? Then the trailer shoots forward to later that night, it's nighttime, right? They're back at their home, or at least their summer home, wherever they're staying, and the son comes up to the parents, he's like, there's 4 people standing outside our house. And the dad goes to check it out, there's just these 4 people of varying heights, all dressed in red, hands held, standing at the top of their driveway. And the dad's like, can we help you? You guys want to fuck with us? What's going on? Right? And all of a sudden, boom, they start coming at the house. They start getting into the house and all this stuff. And it's them. Each one of the 4 strangers in red is one of them. They have their face, they're the same height. It's like they're doppelgangers or something. And the rest of the trailer is just these people trying to figure out what the hell is going on. We got creepy music playing. and just weird imagery of like a hallway with a bunch of weird people in it.
Wow, it sounds like the black version of This Is Us is going to be intense. But no, I hadn't actually seen the trailer part of this. I'm excited. I mean, Get Out was sensational. Like it's as simple as it was unique, highly creative, scary, hilarious. I read an article, which is not always true, but I read an article that the ending for that film was not the original ending.
What, Get Out?
Yes.
Oh, what was the original ending? According to this article.
The original ending is the police show up and arrest him. Like, yeah, the police show up and I forget if they shoot. I think they arrest him. I don't think they shoot him. They did a fan screening. What do you like? They did sample screening.
Yeah, it's a
test screening.
Test screening.
Yeah, they did a test screening and like. yeah.
He doesn't even have to say it. Let me guess. People were like, no.
I mean, it was one of those where it was like, too real, man. Too real. Like, yeah. So they went with the ending for the film, which if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but it was fantastic. Motherfucking TSA.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm excited for this new one. I mean, you know, I'm hoping Jordan Peele doesn't go all like M. Night Shyamalan on us, and it's like, each movie gets a little worse. Like, it was good. It wasn't Get Out good, but it was good in the next movie. It's just like, it had problems. It's, it's not bad. Then the next movie, it's like, what the fuck happened to Jordan Peele? M. Night Shyamalan, like, South Park addressed this really well some years, if not a decade back in the Imagination Land episode. But the issue with a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies is there's not really a plot, there's a twist. Yeah. It's like he everything is built. Yeah, and a lot of the twists were unsatisfying, or just like, are you kidding me? Like the Lady in the Water, the twist where it's like, oh, the Guardian was the weird guy that built up his arm, his just one arm and muscle. I'm like, that's your fucking twist, or the twist of like who the real prophet was, or
the bigger issue there wasn't the twist. And again, the twist was, but the bigger issue was that like after the twist, there was this really weird Deus Ex Machina, like.
You mean Deus Ex Machina?
Yeah. I don't speak Latin, motherfucker. I don't speak. Yeah, Deus Ex Machina. Whatever you said. It was that thing, except instead of like a man in a machine, it was like a plant animal. It was like look at the weird plant animals that just showed up and are like wrecking shit and saving the day. It was that movie. I was really stoned for that movie, and I finished watching that movie, and I was like, I was not high enough. But
I want to keep a counter for every time you mention I was watching a movie. I was high. Did you eat? Were you also stuffed on CC's like when you watched?
I was not stuffed on CC's, unfortunately and fortunately at the same time. But
we're gonna have a high jar every time you tell a story about you being high watching a movie. You put a quarter in a jar.
The other thing with Shyamalan is I think he does even worse when he's not the source of the material. And by that I mean like The Village was essentially a ripoff of like probably a couple different things, but like a thing or two pretty explicitly. Like, I mean, if that was an original screenplay, I'm gonna have to question that one. Then he did, I feel like Devil or whatever was an adaptation.
The elevator film.
Yeah, and then of course someone gave him the thing that he ruined, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, yeah.
The best thing about Avatar: The Last Airbender was the joke that they made on Community about it.
I'm unfamiliar with this joke.
A Secret Service person comes up and, fuck, I can't remember it. Let's move on.
So the last thing we'll say about the trailer is that one of the themes, like these people in red, they all, like, I don't think any one of them, like, it seems like only one. Sorry, tripping on my words. What I'm trying to say is there's this pair of like like bronze or goldish scissors, and you could see it in the poster. And I think these, like, I'm calling them doppelgangers because, or these evil clones, these whatever. They seem to be passing around these scissors, and there's a theme in like briefly you see in the film of like cutting a face off. I think that's what's going on, or I don't know. And I mean, the trailer doesn't reveal what these doppelgangers really want, except to kill the main characters. Maybe that's what the plot is. Like these mysterious supernatural doppelgangers are trying to like take over their lives, but they have to kill them first or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, the scissors, like the scissors are gonna be like. I don't know if he's just trying to create like a unique killing item for a horror movie, because once again, they're not like metallic looking. They've got like a bronze goldish color to them, which maybe will symbolize something. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, let's. We're gonna move on to our.
I will say there seems to be an issue with the premise to a degree, in that. In a horror film, you can paint yourself into a corner to a degree when you have a limited number of cast members, because then there's only so many people that can die, which like affects.
Well, in the trailer, they're on vacation with friends, so there's other people. Yeah, one of them. So yeah, they're on there. So so it's not just them being attacked. Like their friends, you can see in the trailer their friends are getting caught up in it.
Okay, but their friends just don't have doppelgangers.
No, it's just the black family. It's just so it's the. And moving on.
Before Eric says, that's kind of racist, Vince. Just the black family has doppelgangers.
We all know
trying to kill everyone.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to perpetuate the racial stereotype of black people having doppelgangers.
That want to kill everyone.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, time to move on. We're time to move on for our first movie review of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about the first Transformers movie that doesn't have Michael Bay. Yeah, we're talking about
Hooray!
Bumblebee. Yeah.
Did Bumblebee kill Michael Bay?
Did Optimus Prime kill Michael Bay?
Maybe. What has that girl been in?
That's Haley Steinfeld.
From?
She was in True Grit. She's in,
okay.
2 out of 3 Pitch Perfect movies.
Wasn't she also in some film with Woody Harrelson that I didn't watch? I don't know. Maybe. Moving on.
All right. So the plot of this new Transformers movie, it's a spin-off. It's not connected. Well, it's kind of okay. I'm going to say this right off the bat. This movie has some continuity errors, but that's not really a new thing with the Transformers franchise, because they just keep adding mythos that seems to like not link up. But this
okay. To be clear, Transformers is a film based on a TV show that was made for the sole purpose of selling toys.
Yes.
So I understand that as nerds, we love our canon, we love accuracy, but I feel like with a Transformers movie not directed by Michael Bay, we should give the continuity problems a little bit of a break.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't,
just for getting Michael Bay out of it.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't really care much. Like I saw them and I was like, that doesn't make sense. But
did it matter?
To me, no, because the basic plot of the movie is, and kind of semi forget what you remember about the other movies. The war is raging on Cybertron. The Autobots are kind of in retreat, so Optimus Prime sends Bumblebee away to Earth on a mission. And while he is there, Bumblebee encounters a young teenage girl by the name of Charlie, who's having some problems in her life. And the two of them kind of help each other out. But unfortunately, 2 Decepticons are right behind Bumblebee, trying to track him down and take him out. So it's set place in the 80s, and that's what we're going to talk about first about this movie. The setting is in the 80s, which adds to the nostalgia feel. This movie has a lot of nostalgia. Part of the nostalgia is, and we talked about this on the show before, is that the Transformers, the ones we see, because it mostly focuses on Bumblebee and the two Decepticons that come at him. Which what were the name of the 2 Decepticons?
It probably started with an S.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding at all.
Let's take a look.
It's probably like Starscream and Stellar or something. Aren't like 8 of the Decepticons names starting with S's?
There's a lot of them. But Starscream is in the movie briefly, but there's like 2. Wait, okay, we're down to Shatter and Dropkick. Or Blitzwing?
Okay, I was 50% right.
I'm going to go with Blitz. David's. Okay, I forgot what their names were, but that's... There's a lot. Okay, so yeah, now we talked about the show. It's released a while ago. Images from the movie showing that the Transformers in this film their looks, their designs were going to be heavily based off their 80s looks. Optimus Prime, for the most part, looks like he did in the 80s, that they gave it like an update to a degree to make it look like it's not just some blocky robot that shouldn't be able to like move and, you know, have articulation like it does. And they all look great. Like we showed these images on before. Decepticons. And that's a great thing about the Decepticons in this movie. In a lot of the previous films, with a few exceptions here and there, 90% of the Decepticons in the previous films were all gray in color, and that caused a lot of them to blend into each other, and it's kind of hard to distinguish them. You know, with, like I said, with a few exceptions. In this film, the Decepticons have color. They have actual color, and you can tell what they are. Like the two villains, not only do they have color, but they brought in the triple changer aspect from the toy line, where they actually have two vehicle modes along with their robot mode. So that was a bit of a cool aspect. They didn't go too much into it, but yeah. So you got the 80s look of the Transformers, which is really cool. That I loved seeing them in action. You know, Optimus got a big positron rifle. And
so wait, time out. Did the Decepticons have some like deep personal awakening, or no? I'm just trying to figure out how they pulled a Pleasantville.
That's what happens. Goddamn Shockwave is like, oh, I can see. Oh, let's do pornographic art. Was that Shockwave who had the voice like that, or that Soundwave? I get to always do two of them mixed up.
I'm not sure, because again, like 8 of them have names starting with S's. But Did you just say I can sew? Let's make pornographic art.
I think I just kind of mumbled a little bit, and I ended with pornographic art. But no, seriously. The nostalgia factor keeps going because once again, it's the 80s setting, right? We're in 1987, and the 80s is there. It's not thrown in your face like, but just the style of the clothing, some of the high school characters being played by people in their mid-20s, that old good old 80s stuff. That was kind of cool. I mean, Haley Steinfeld is 22, so she can still pull off the high schoolers thing. But there was this couple of actors that are like, you're in your mid-20s.
I mean, did you watch the Power Rangers?
Oh, dude. Did I watch the Power Rangers? We've never had this discussion.
Like the most recent film?
Oh, the most recent film? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Okay, so you mean you saw the 30-year-old Asian high schooler? Mm-hmm. Who looks amazing, by the way. Like, no, he was literally like 29 or something during filming.
What's his name? Ludi Liu or something like that.
I'm not sure.
Okay. But no, he was actually in Aquaman. He had a small character.
Oh, nice. Good for him.
Not a huge one. You totally miss him because he's got some, like, fish makeup.
Time out. Fish makeup. Yes.
He did. He had this stuff going. But no, like, more like his face. Like, all the other, like, Atlanteans are like, they look just human underwater. This guy was like, fishy. He was literally fishy. What? Anyway.
No, nothing. I'm just reminded, like...
What?
Merman,
yes. But anyway, so yeah, the 80s feel is good in here. Now, Haley Steinfeld's character name's Charlie. She plays a teenage girl. It's her birthday. She's she's a grease monkey, right? She likes working. She's a grease monkey. She likes working on cars and such. And she's having a tough time in her life because we find out in the movie that her father passed away. We're not sure how long ago, at least a year. She's still dealing with the death, but her family seems to have moved on. Her mother, her younger brother, her mom even has a new boyfriend, and they're just trying to enjoy life.
That slut.
They're just trying to enjoy life, but she's still stuck up on him. And there's points in the movie that they tell her, you need to smile more, and she's just like, oh yeah, no, they throw a little that in there. They throw a little that in there. But it's under the disguise of her just like, you gotta stop being so sad and depressed. And stuff like, well, maybe you should fucking talk to her about her dad. What the fuck? Like what do you think she's like? Part of the movie is like she's trying to repair this like classic car that her dad and her used to work on, and her mom's like, you're always in the garage working on that car. Why? Why do you think why? I'm sorry, that part was a little, but no. So yeah, they like and like a stereotypical like stepdad, 80s stepdad. The dad's got a bit of a dork, and he doesn't get where he's come from. There's also a few other like stereotypes that some of the stuff carried into the 90s, but I feel like it was like really patented in the 80s of like, she's not the most popular girl at school. She works a job she doesn't like. All the popular girls are popular pretty girls are all snooty and shit.
Wait,
and they make fun of her. It's like,
this is Transformers. She's all that.
A little bit. A little bit, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like in other Transformers movies, like the main female lead was highly sexualized, a very big criticism that the films got. And this one, Haley Steinfeld, not really. And part of that is because of her character is like a bit of a grease monkey, a tomboy.
Time out. Are you accusing Michael Bay of sexualizing Megan Fox?
I'm accusing Michael Bay of literally saying to her right before filming a scene, it's like, she's like, "Are you gonna wait? So that's gonna happen?" And he's like, "Yeah, and then I'm gonna smack your ass with this paddle." He said that on fucking set. So yes, I'm accusing him of being a horn dog.
Well, no. Do you know that what her first film was? Megan Fox.
Megan Fox. I'm trying to think. I know she was on a TV sitcom right before.
I believe her first film was the original Bad Boys. And she was 14 or 15.
Oh, yeah. I do remember she had like a small role in
And
that.
she was sitting at the bar, and someone goes, "No, we can't have her sitting at the bar. She's 14 or 15. And Michael Bay goes, "Oh, I have a solution to this. Let's just put her in the water. Let's just have her getting drenched with water from that like spray thing, like the yeah, that's Michael Bay."
Anyway, back to the movie that Michael Bay didn't direct. So this movie is dipped in nostalgia, and that was really fun for me. I was born in the '80s, so I grew up watching a lot of '80s stuff. Eric is the same way, so that sometimes it's a little too much because the stuff with like the snooty, popular, pretty girl thing. I don't know if it's really that necessary for the plot of the movie. It's fine. It was enjoyable in that way, but at the same time, I was like, we really could have cut that down a little bit. I don't know. The special effects in the movie are really good. Most of as much criticism as Transformer movies have, usually the special effects are on point most of the time. This one, I really have no complaints about them. I never was taken out of the movie going like, "Oh, that looks so fake." I've seen better special effects, but these are still really good, so I got no problems there.
Okay, Vince, tell me what I'm dying to know. I just want to know which Transformer turns into John Cena.
Ironhide.
That's fitting.
Yeah.
That's fitting.
So let's talk about John Cena's character, because John Cena's character does carry over a plot element that is in all the Transformers films. Where
the military?
Yes. And the plot, more of the plot is like there's usually some government agency that for some reason doesn't like Transformers. So John Cena's character, he's like a military commando captain or something of that nature. And when Bumblebee first lands on Earth, like they have an encounter, but then the Decepticons show up. So his perception of the Transformers is that they are not to be trusted and they must be destroyed. Now he's not like the supreme, he has to take his orders from a higher group, but yet he kind of fills the plot of the government agency person who doesn't trust the Transformers. In the previous film, sometimes it's a politician, sometimes it is somebody who's like a soldier of some kind. Every Transformers movies have that where in this one it makes a little bit more sense because it's more of like a restart for the franchise in a way, because it's a bit of an origin story. And this is where it partially doesn't make sense, where they don't know that Transformers exist, because they established in the first film that they were aware of the Transformers' existence, not knowing very much about them, but aware of it for decades. So that's one of the continuity errors. Once again, I don't care, because there's enjoyment to be had. John Cena does fine in the film. He has his moments doing this badass thing. There's a few goofy moments that kind of make him look less than badass, but that's the humor of the film.
His best movie is probably still Sisters.
Oh yeah, he's in that. Huh?
He steals the movie in Sisters.
Oh really? I never saw it.
He, if I remember correctly, he plays a drug dealer with a face tattoo that I think Tina Fey hits on.
Yeah, I remember that from the trailer.
He's hysterical. He's also, I have a personal, I will always love John Cena for the somewhat viral meme. He volunteers for Make-A-Wish.
Oh yeah.
And there is a picture of him sitting down and having a tea party with a little girl, and I can't remember if she's wearing a tutu and a tiara or if he's wearing a tutu and a tiara, but it is adorable and one of the most precious things I've ever seen.
Yeah, he said recently that he wants to be the next Captain America, so we'll see.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, well a lot of people have been he's one on that list of actors. People have been saying you might make a good Captain America. We'll see how that. I have no idea what Marvel's plans. They haven't announced anything about past Chris Evans when his contract ends, his time as Captain America, which is pretty much over after the next Avengers film. But we'll see. But anyway, so I'll say just a little bit more about the film, and then we'll move on to our next movie because we got 2 movie reviews to do tonight.
We got 2.
Yeah. Bumblebee overall very enjoyable. Once again, there could have been a little cutting down here and there, a little bit of a little pacing here and there. Once again, there's continuity errors, but honestly, I didn't care about it because this film was enjoyable. The action was good. The special effects were good. All the actors did fine jobs. There may be 1 or 2 exceptions, but they were minor characters, so, whatever. But yeah, guys, for the first time in, over a decade, we have an enjoyable Transformers film. And it's not just me. This film is doing very well. It's getting good reviews by other critics and audience. We'll pop over to Rotten Tomatoes real quick.
I mean, no, to your point. So I think we've covered that. I'm generally skeptical of sequels because sequels are normally a prime example of, we have a brand, so we don't actually need a good product. Spit something out. People will come and see it. Because that first one... The first one had flaws, but it was fun. I saw it at midnight in theaters on opening night, and I was high, Vincent.
Drop in the jar.
What you were saying, the first Transformers?
Yeah, I liked the first Transformers movie. It's not great, but I was like, I remember the whole year leading up to it, I was like, oh my God, this could be fucking horrible. And it wasn't fucking horrible. It wasn't great, but it was good and enjoyable. And I was in high school when it came out, so of course
it was funny. It was fun. Wait, what year did you graduate?
High school? Oh, God. 05.
05? Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, on Rotten Tomatoes, it currently has a critic score of 93%. The average rating of the critic score is 7 out of 10. The audience score is 79%. I would lean a little more closer to the audience score than the critic score. For me, I think it... not maybe if I had maybe an 83%, I don't know. I usually don't like doing percentages. But anyway, so I'll say, do I recommend it or not? Yes, I do recommend Bumblebee. It is a fun time. Doesn't get too graphic or sexual or anything, so you can take your kids to it. They'll love it without having to worry about that crap.
So what you're saying is Bumblebee is more bee than Bumble.
You could go that route. But anyway, time to move on to our next movie review. And back to a subject we kind of inadvertently got into at the beginning of the episode. We got a little political, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Vice. So this movie, I saw the trailer for a month and a half ago. It's a movie starring Christian Bale as politician Dick Cheney and his rise from basically nobody to one of the most powerful men in the United States government. And if you believe the film, for 8 years, the most powerful man in the United States government.
I don't think the film is the first thing to postulate that idea.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I remember these subjects being brought up many a year ago. But this film just really gets into every...
And also, I wanted to bait him being basically no one. I mean, no one in the political scene, but he was the CEO of that place that had the big scandal.
Halliburton?
That would be it. Yeah, that would. You mean the one that had a big scandal that he didn't get prosecuted for while he was the vice president?
Yeah.
Just like he hasn't been prosecuted for anything that he did while he was vice president. But we're a country of law and order.
Oh, it's hard to not talk about this shit a little bit.
We know that's not. We're a country of law and order, SVU. So, anyways, the movie.
Yes.
The movie.
So once again, Christian Bale plays Dick Cheney. We'll start with there. Christian Bale is one of those actors. He is a chameleon of sorts. Whatever role he plays on, he becomes that character. And honestly, he is the best part of the film. His performance as Dick Cheney is great. Just that he goes from, because they started the early part of Dick Cheney's life when he was a heavily, he was basically an alcoholic, college boy, drinking every night, partying all this time. Until his wife, Lynn, played by Amy Adams in this film, basically turned around and was like, either you turn your fucking life around or I'm leaving your ass, right? And they start there from him just being some drunken asshole to a political asshole. And I'm going to clarify more about the political asshole part, just, for those of you listening in. But anyway, yeah, Christian Bale, he goes from just this nobody, really, Dick Cheney in the film, if it is accurate about his early life, he really wasn't freaking nobody. He didn't come from some rich family. He's just some guy, who just happened to, marry a woman smart enough to like whoop his ass into shape. And you follow his career, starting to get into politics. Being an intern in D.C. and becoming an intern to Donald Rumsfeld, played by Steve Carell. Steve Carell puts in a pretty solid performance here. I'm not too familiar with Donald. I mean, I remember Donald Rumsfeld, but I didn't like follow him. But Steve Carell's performance is nice at times. Amy Adams.
I remember Donald Rumsfeld for kissing Saddam Hussein.
Okay.
Not kidding.
No, I believe you. I believe
you. A real picture. Also, with the chameleon thing, you were right. Like the makeup looks amazing on Christian Bale. Like that's the ugliest I've ever seen Christian Bale. And I watched The Machinist.
Oh, and keep in mind when like Christian Bale really is fat in this movie. Christian Bale, he puts on weight. The same way he did for American Hustle, a movie he did a few years back with Amy Adams. Once again, who played his love interest in that film, and hers. Did I say that right? Whatever, you got what I meant. Anyway, Christian Bale, he puts on the weight. So when you see him getting fatter and fatter over the course of the film, that really is Christian Bale getting fatter and fatter over the course of the film. Like Dick Cheney, like the movie shows him never being in great shape. Like he always had a bit of a gut. But yeah, no, he literally gets fatter over the course of the film. And you don't see Christian Bale in the performance. You just see this guy, Dick Cheney, who can be like this ruthless, strategic. Like when that's the movie portrays him as being just a basic kind of like run-of-the-mill, average, intelligent guy. And then, of course, the movie, as he starts to study politics in D.C., and Donald Rumsfeld is basically his mentor that shows him the ropes and teaches him, like, this is how you do it. And, he this sly, cold-hearted strategist that can just make this crazy shit happen, And they show the ups and downs in his career. They do. Of course, the biggest up in his career with George W. Bush, played by Sam Rockwell, who nice, also good performance in this movie. And they just, George W. Bush says, "I want you to be my VP," and that's the point of the movie. They show this in the trailer. This is where like Dick Cheney, like, this is where I'm going to take over the world, basically. But let's get into like a bit of a problem. Maybe, depending on your point of view, this movie is going to piss off a lot of people. All right. I mean, I haven't spoken to anybody yet, but I can imagine if you're a fan of Dick Cheney, you're not going to like this film because basically this movie portrays him as anything that is said to be or perceived or whatever how you want to say it about the Republican Party. He embodies it, everything. The movie is very I don't know how else to say it. It's very biased about it. Like Dick Cheney is basically the devil of American politics for the past 30 years. He's the trickster. He's he pulls the wool over the eye. He knows how to manipulate people.
Time out. There are fans of Dick Cheney
somewhere. All right, there's fans of Batman.
I mean, you're right. I was out in Westmoreland County like a couple weeks, so I am sure. And then I was out in Beaver County after that. So you are probably correct, sir.
Well, yeah, because there's got to be. I'm just saying, if you're not going to like this film. Even if you're a Republican, you might have issue with this film because the movie doesn't really paint the Republican Party in the best of light because they really just, like, a lot of the people, like, there are some Democrats portrayed in the movie, but very few. It's mostly Republicans and just like, so this movie does have a bias, and I can see that throwing people off. Another thing that might throw people off is the pacing of the film. The film, what was it? It's over 2 hours, right? What is it? Runtime 2 hours and 12 minutes, so a little over 2 hours. The pacing is a little off. It sometimes it feels like it's moving a bit slow or kind of dragging its feet. It picks up every once in a while because this movie was directed by Adam McKay, who a couple years ago directed the movie The Big Short, another kind of a biopic looking at events in America. That movie was about the housing crash, which also had Christian Bale and Steve Carell in it. Very good movie. Got a whole bunch of Oscar nominations. If you haven't seen The Big Short, I do recommend it. Excuse me. But Adam McKay is mostly known for his comedic directing. He's directed episodes of Saturday Night Live. He directed Anchorman, Talladega Nights.
He directed Anchorman and Talladega. What?
Yeah. Step Brothers. He directed an episode of Eastbound and Down.
Hopefully he passed on Sherlock Holmes.
Yep, not him. Okay. Yeah, because he has worked with Will Ferrell a lot. Yeah, Anchorman 2, the other guys. But he's also got this other stuff. Like I said, The Big Short, which was a drama, but there are comedic elements in it. Like in The Big Short, they have like these kind of like breaks in the movie where they suddenly have a random celebrity show up and use analogies to explain the difficult to understand housing market, terms and phrases and strategies and stuff like that. In this movie, they kind of break into these weird comedic moments that I don't want to like spoil any of them. They're not like in The Big Short where a celebrity just shows up out of nowhere and does an analogy or like stuff like that. But they do help. They're real funny moments, so I'll give them credit there. But yeah, the pacing and the bias towards Dick Cheney, because like I said, the movie makes no qualms about pointing out every nasty little dirty thing that Dick Cheney did or presumably did, and I say presumably because I haven't fucking studied Dick Cheney. I just remember bits and pieces from when he was the vice president, stuff I heard, stuff he did do. So I'm not going to say whether he did or not. All I'm going to say is I didn't vote for Bush. So, but anyway,
I don't think you were actually allowed to vote for Bush. Like, I don't mean like someone was like, Vincent, you can't do that. If you try to do that, I'm gonna lock you in the basement. I'm like, I'm pretty sure if you graduated in 2005, and his second.
Well, I'll say as a young teenage boy, he really didn't know a lot about politics. I was very vocal about my distaste for George W. Bush. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, and honestly, so I can see that throwing a lot of people off the bias of the film. And once again, the pacing, because the pacing can get a little boring because there are just parts of the movie where it's just like them going over, yeah, he did this nasty thing. 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 That's what he did. But still, once again, the performance by Christian Bale is the best part of the movie. I mean, all the actors, you got a great cast in here. All the actors do good performances, but it's Christian Bale that really stands the fuck out. And just the few funny moments here and there. So this is a bit of a difficult one because once again, like Adam McKay's done better as a director. So do I recommend this film or not? I am going to recommend it because there are the enjoyment. There's enough enjoyment there with like the performances, the little comedic moments. Once again, just for Christian Bale, he was fantastic in this film. So the movie has a lot of problems, but it has enough pros for me to recommend it. So I do recommend it.
So this is fantastic, worth it. Way better than Lady in the Water, which we talked about earlier, which Paul Giamatti's fantastic in that film, but still not able to make it a good film because of too many plot problems and a disappointing ending.
Yes.
So how is the ending on this?
On Vice? It ended with him being a dick. I don't know how else to fucking say it. Seriously, that's another thing. This movie, any gray area there is with Dick Cheney as a character is pretty much negated by the end of the film. Any gray area. But anyway, so that's, once again, I recommend Vice. And ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the episode. So once again, we got a quick shout out. If you enjoy this show and you'd like to support us, we do have a Patreon channel. Patreon's on a bit of a controversy right now. So if you're not too hyped about Patreon, I also have a Venmo if you'd like to donate there. Anything we get would be highly appreciated. And before we go off, this is the one, I got to mention this is the 1 year anniversary of when Carrie Fisher passed away. So all right. Once again, it's been a year since that happened. So it's been a rough time for the Star Wars fan base and anybody in our family and members. So rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. But anyway, guys, that is it for us. So we'll see you around. We'll be back next week. First episode of 2019, movie review and the best and worst movies we saw this past year. We'll see you guys. Take it easy.
POVincent signing off, and may the force be with us all.